All right, let's get into some potential Anthony Davis trades. Like I mentioned, Nico Harrison is out, and there's speculation across the association now that Nico Harrison is gone, that both Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving could be next out of the door. We always have the question the first couple weeks or month into the season, who's going to be the team, who's going to be the superstar that gets traded next. And it feels as though it might be Anthony Davis. It seems like the ownership is saying they want to chill on Anthony Davis' health to make sure he's completely healthy. Some of that is kind of like we throwing the white flag already, and we just going to move AD once we get an opportunity to. So we all like being internet general managers.
What was your reaction when the report came out that Nico asked Anthony Davis to come back early?
I actually didn't even see that. So this is my first time hearing it.
I was kind of, I don't even want to say thrown off. I mean, he was trying to save his job.
Yeah, that was my takeaway from it.
But it was very, it was stupid.
It was stupid.
Because apparently the injury that Anthony Davis has, their medical staff wants him to really relax and chill because it's calf related. And we've seen the injuries with Tatum, Hallie, Dame, well, specifically Dame and Tatum, where they were being bothered by a lingering calf issue, and you rush and you come back so soon, and it turns into an Achilles issue. So they're saying that the owner is stepping in and saying, like,
relax.
He's going to kind of approve and make sure that situation, because, you're 3 and what? 7?
100? Something like that?
Yeah. So, like,
close enough.
Nico Harrison is out of his mind to even try to throw that on the table.
It's selfish. That's what really.
That's a fireboy. That's a fireboy excuse right there.
It wasn't like what was the record when Anthony Davis played in the 5 games he played? It was probably like 2-3 or 1-4. It wasn't like they was 4-1. And it's like, man, get back, because when you played, we was at the top of the West. It's like you bringing them back to lose by 4 instead of 9.
Yeah.
To lose by 11 instead of 16.
It was very distasteful to see a GM do that to their star player.
When you was already going to get fired.
All right, who want to throw out the first trade?
I'll do it.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
I love Darrick trades, by the way. Historically, he's the best GM ever.
I like to think so, too. I got one where the rich get richer. The Oklahoma City Thunder come in and they get involved in the Anthony Davis sweepstakes. And what they going to give up, they giving up Isaiah Hartenstein, Isaiah Joe, and Nikola Topic, and the Clippers pick for this year. And in return, they receive Anthony Davis.
Okay. That's actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be when you said OKC. Obviously, they say OKC's just not going to do it because there's no real incentive to do it. But just as a thought experiment, I think the big question with the Anthony Davis thing is, what does that value really look like? And I think you kind of gave something that feels decent, a young player.
Yep.
And Nikola Topic get well soon.
They really aren't going to use.
Yep. A draft pick that, based on what the Clippers look like right now, that's actually a really good draft pick. And then basically salary filler. No disrespect to Isaiah Hartenstein, but that's what he is in this trade.
I thought about OKC too. I didn't have a trade for them, but I thought about them too, just because they can. You know, I feel like they're really in one of those tiers where they just have so many assets that they can't throw stuff at the wall, and they could pop up with a player like Anthony Davis.
I just wonder.
Defensively, their team would just be so nasty. It's already nasty, but if you put AD at the 5 instead of Isaiah Hartenstein, it just opens up so much more.
I wonder, we're not cap experts, but I wonder what Anthony Davis's 2 years left versus Ihart's 1 year left, what that does for the future extensions of some of the players they actually care about.
Yeah.
Definitely plays a part.
We got it. You know, like I feel like that's what OKC's at. We had the best defense of all time last season. Somehow, even without J-Dub and Chet missed some time already this season, we're on pace to do it again. So yeah, I think that they just chill. At least if they're gonna make a trade, it'll be something marginal versus going to get a superstar.
I agree. It was tough for me to draw up trades, so I stole.
All of my trades are like fake. You know what I mean?
I stole mine. I ain't gonna lie.
I was looking at some teams. I was
He
like,
said he stole them.
I was like, how did the Pacers get in? I was like, they can't.
They really can't.
Yeah.
Not without Pascal. I looked at all 29 of the teams.
Yeah, I stole this from Bleacher Report.
What Bleacher Report put together?
The Mavericks get Karl Anthony Towns.
I had a trade with Cat.
Kirshan Yabusele.
Okay.
He just said big screens, I guess.
Tyler Kolek.
Okay.
Pacome Daddier. Huck Porty. And a $4 million trade exception.
Okay. That's like half the roster.
The Knicks get Anthony Davis, Jaden Hardy, Brandon Williams, Dante Exum, rights to overseas prospect, and they get 2 trade exceptions that would equal out to $5 million. And then the Nets get in to help facilitate the trade, where they would take Dwight Powell and $5 million and a 2022 second-round pick.
See, that might be the deal breaker. You know, Dwight Powell has to stay in Dallas for his entire career, or the rest of his career.
Out of all those things, I'm just glad that Pierre brought it to the table because, again, I was thinking about trades for Anthony Davis to the Knicks, and I was like, just don't know how Knicks fans would even feel about it.
I don't either.
I think it's fascinating. Yeah,
I
because I
either.
didn't build a Bulls trade because I kind of assumed somebody else would. Because I don't know
Yeah, I
how
got
to
a Bulls trade
value my own players on my team. So I think it
Same.
is interesting that you brought in that one.
I didn't make it though, guys.
Right.
Yeah.
So from that
That's why I had to
perspective,
steal it.
I think it obviously levels y'all up on the defensive end of the floor. But obviously,
Mitchell Robinson and AD in the front court.
that sounds crazy. You know, AD wants to play the 4 either way.
Yeah.
It would be scary to me from the Knicks' perspective. Of course, the health of Anthony Davis being the big question mark.
And Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah, both
I
of
do
them.
like
Both,
Yeah.
you have 2 injury-prone bigs.
Yeah,
I think
and
about
nobody's
health.
behind them if you're giving up Huck Porty.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think about health more so than fit with Anthony Davis.
Yep.
Always, yeah.
Like, I'd worry about the fit later, and the health is my biggest concern when trading for him. That's why it was kind of hard to think about draft compensation in this because I'm not sure how much I'm willing to give up my future for something that may be only the next few years down the road.
Yeah, it don't look like the Knicks, the Mavericks don't get a pick in
Yeah.
this. They get
It's just
money,
Towns
really.
and
Trade exceptions and Town. I guess the picks are Daddy A and Kolak, but
so hypothetically, if we got notification, obviously I don't think that trade can go through until at least December 15th. If we got notification that said that trade happened, from a Knicks fan's perspective, what is your initial reaction? Like, are you excited about it? Are you worrying about it? Like, how do you really gauge something like that?
I'm optimistic.
Okay.
I like Cat, but I like 82. But like Mike said, it's the injury history. That's all. But he's a great player.
All right, I'm gonna give y'all my first trade revolving around Anthony Davis. And like I said, all the trades I came up with are kind of fictional trades, but
That's
more
why I'm interested.
conversation starters more than anything. What if the Toronto Raptors were interested in Anthony Davis?
Yep, I think they can be,
I like
honestly.
this.
In this hypothetical, it is Anthony Davis and Brandon Williams going to the Toronto Raptors in exchange for what's left of that long-ass Emmanuel Quickley contract. Jakob Poeltl, the 2028 and the 2026 and 2028 first-round picks.
See, I had a trade with them too, but instead of the Jakob Poeltl and the picks, it was Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett. Like,
Just
you
straight up like that?
Yep. And you get those, you basically get
I
pieces
still
that
need
can
a
fit a little bit alongside Cooper
I
Flag.
still need a pick.
The way I thought about it is you get one of those picks for Anthony Davis's talent and one of those picks to take on Emmanuel Quickley's contract. That's kind of where my head was at when I put it together.
I think because again, when I was looking for some of these trades to steal, the Raptors came up in one of the articles, and I think they were more on the side of Mike the way they had RJ Barrett. But I think I like yours, KB, because if I'm the Mavericks, I know I'm not getting a gazillion picks for AD, but I also don't want to bring in people that kind of get in the way, I guess. So like I'll take Emmanuel Quickley for the pick. I can't take RJ and Emmanuel Quickley.
Right.
What is RJ Barrett's contract situation?
I think it's like 27.
Option? But is it an option or is he straight into free agency?
I think he does have an option.
I think it's a year after this one, yeah.
Team player?
I would
It's
assume
usually
players
always
because
player.
nobody getting team.
Then
options.
I probably would because I really want to clear the desk here. I wanna really tank. I wanna really be bad, and I wanna go get my next pick and make sure that like I start there. Because then when you look at the Mavericks' future and you squint, it's like if they can get a top 4, top 3 pick, preferably with Cooper Flag and Darrick Lively, that's not that bad of a nucleus to start with. But I don't want to bring in because RJ Barrett. Emmanuel Quickley, that's like 25 shots right there on a bad team.
And my fictional trade here, you probably want to find a third team for Jakob because you don't want Jakob Poeltl and Darrick Lively. And I'm assuming Gafford might get traded if they blow it all up. But you know Lively is one of your building blocks. So maybe a third team
And
comes
Dwight
in.
Powell.
And you can't forget Dwight Powell.
I like this for the Raptors, though, on the opposite end. Anthony Davis, Scotty Barnes, Brandon Ingram. Also, if you're the Mavericks, would you try to take like instead of RJ Barrett, who you kind of know the ceiling is, he's a little older.
You want one of the younger guys.
Would you try to get a Grady Dick or Jacoby Walter?
I think you try.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah,
might as well.
But I don't
They can
think the
come in and
Raptors
probably develop a lot better than they are in Toronto.
At least try.
Yeah.
I have a trade that includes the Spurs.
I got one too, Mike. I'm looking right at it. Let's see if we put together the same trade.
This would be Devin Vassell,
Yep.
Harrison Barnes,
Nope.
Jeremy Sohan, and a first-round pick for Anthony Davis, Max Christie.
Okay. Oh, Max Christie's in there too.
Yeah.
That's a little come up. Mine with the Spurs are very similar. It was Vassell, Sohan, and Olynyk. I didn't even have any draft conversation. I was thinking 25-year-old young player, and then Jeremy Sohan still on his rookie scale deal. That is your young player or future draft capital. But if you're getting Max Christie back, if you're the Spurs, then I feel pretty good about it.
Would you all trade Devin Vassell?
Harrison, I
think so.
would.
Yeah.
For Anthony Davis?
Any Anthony Davis trade?
I think so.
I'm trying. It's not that I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I'm trying to put us in the position of a Spurs fan, how we did with me with the Knicks, because we don't have a Spurs fan up here.
Well, I think Spurs fans will probably just say no to the deal completely, honestly. I think most fan bases are probably turned off by Anthony Davis at this moment in time, given the history of his injuries and the size of his contract.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of fan bases will be too intrigued unless he goes out there and, like he tried to do with Dallas. And
but
prove
this is what
that
I
he's
will
worth
say.
it.
Guys like Anthony Davis, Zach LaVine, not that they're in the same tier, but guys that got these big contracts, well, Anthony Davis is a little bit more longer than Zach LaVine's contractual length. Anyway.
I wasn't going to do it.
I like Anthony Davis in this setting because I have MVP caliber Vic. I have a De'Aaron Fox. So even with him missing the games, this team still is structured and stands still. The thing about the Mavericks, my first reaction, I think on the first video I made with the Luka trade is, my goodness, I like Kyrie and Anthony Davis and those surrounding pieces, but Nico, you're putting the franchise on the back of two injury-prone stars.
Yeah.
So I don't want to put Anthony Davis. That's why the Knicks trade is like he becomes significant to where if he misses time, it hurts us. The Spurs, it will hurt to not have Anthony Davis, but you still have two All-NBA caliber players. So this is ideal for me.
Yeah.
If I were to be an investor.
You have a lot more security.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree because you got Fox and Wemby.
That's why.
You got Dylan Harper, Stephon Cass. There's a lot more structure.
I think the question is, if you're the Spurs, if this trade pack of Vassell, Sohan, draft capital, that's a real tangible trade package. Do you believe that somebody else better or more secure than Anthony Davis becomes available down the line? You know what I mean? And that's probably what you're thinking about if you're the Spurs. Do we go all in for Anthony Davis, or do we wait to see if this Giannis thing this offseason doesn't really work? And then we use this same thing plus draft picks to go get Giannis.
You got to wait then, yeah.
Because I also think that waiting around could be detrimental.
I agree too, yeah.
I was reading something, and that was kind of the idea with the Knicks for a little bit. They were waiting to see if Giannis was going to be available. They're like, we can't wait. Let's go get Karl Anthony Towns and go get Mikal Bridges. And obviously, that's a championship contender right now. So I guess it's all of the conversations that come with an
And right now, it seems like
trade.
Giannis is happy. I mean, the Bucks are playing good. And I think
personally, if I was the Spurs, I would go for it.
Yeah, I think waiting on Giannis. If he was to be disgruntled, it would have had to been now. Like, they would have had to been bad now.
That's why, like, when I was trying to look at teams that would make that trade, you kind of have to think that they have some leniency to either wait for Anthony Davis to be completely healthy, or they can kind of have him, like, you get healthy while we still are able to win games.
Yep.
And then once it really comes time to it, we're adding Anthony Davis to the
That's
mix.
kind of why I had OKC in there, because I feel like they could be a team that could really hold it down, even with him being
The
out.
only thing with them is they just got the if it ain't broke, don't fix it approach.
right.
And there's a risk there, right? There's a risk.
Yeah.
Because you're giving up real players for a hypothetical player.
Yeah.
And, like, if they trade all of that and Anthony Davis not ready for 2 months, who knows what your record's going to be in those 2 months.
I have another team. I have the
Who got
Wizards.
The Pistons trade? Oh my gosh.
The Wizards getting him.
Oh,
They're
what the
sending
hell?
away. They're sending away their vets, Chris Middleton, CJ McCollum. All that money is off the books for
Right.
the Mavericks. They're also getting 2 first-round picks for Anthony Davis and Caleb Martin.
I'm not doing that if I'm the Wizards.
The reason I thought it could be positive for the Wizards is obviously they're going to be bad. Like, even if he's missing a lot of games, they were just going to miss games, period. Like, you can still play for the pick. But once he's back, you can try to put it together. And I think it's a really good vet for also Alex Sarr. He's going to learn a lot from Anthony Davis, even if he's kind of sitting on the
But,
show.
like, Alex Sarr's, like, better than Anthony. No, let me chill.
Yeah, come on.
Also,
I love Alex
chill,
Sarr,
I'm
bro.
just
Don't say all
Also,
that.
they're working with Anthony Davis camp on facilitating this deal.
He's
They're
not going to
gonna-
watch.
They're going to decline that. They're gonna push back heavily
On some
that.
2K type stuff though.
Makes sense. The Washington Wizards were 17.5, or the Rockets were 17.5 favorite going into last night. That's like worst of all time type odds, you know? They can't be buyers while being that bad.
Yeah, I think you just and also you're trading away draft picks when you're a young team that's going to be
You
bad.
need them.
You need those picks. You need to hit on those picks. So like trading those picks, the Wizards is a big no for me.
I got a couple quick ones.
He said a big no.
You know, he GM of the year.
He is GM of the year. This team obviously also deal with a front court player that's in and out of the lineup a lot. What if an Anthony Davis Philadelphia 76er thing was available?
Who they trade?
Paul George.
Paul George and Jerry McCain.
Mm.
Oh, you putting AD and Joel together?
Well, we just making fake trades.
I know,
but
that's true.
I kind of like it from the intriguing fact you get Jared McCain in that trade.
I don't like
If
it
you
because
the
you
Mavericks.
interrupting Trent and Wofford. And that's my boy, but yeah. Is his contract shorter than Paul George? He got like a 2-year extension. Paul George got a 4-year deal, right?
Yeah, he's got 3 years left for Paul George. So you got an extra year compared to Anthony Davis.
I mean,
And I got another one.
I got an Atlanta trade.
Oh, go give me the Atlanta one.
Kristaps Porzingis on his 1-year deal, Onyeka, a first-round pick that is top 3 protected for Anthony Davis.
I saw the same type of trade as somebody threw Asa Newell in there instead of
Okay. I didn't
below.
Yeah.
They're a team that it's kind of hard to put
Why,
the injury
though?
risk for.
Can I ask why are they being buyers?
I think just because they feel like they probably need to do something.
Oh, that's the worst place to be as a front office. We got to do something because they still got the question mark of Trae Young as well.
Yeah. And they might probably feel like a duo of Anthony Davis and
I
Trae
feel like
Young.
this is the move you make if they came out on that fire start we kind of thought they would be. Then this would be like the cherry on top where it's like, ooh, they 7-3. Those moves made sense. Let's go get Anthony Davis. But to like save it or to give it another try within the try is kind of nuts.
Is one of the under talked about things about it from us is that whatever team trades for Anthony Davis, they're probably going to have to extend him too. So now you got to deal with that headache of whether or not his contract is he max worthy still, which is a bad conversation to have about a legend like Anthony Davis. But we appreciate the trades. We got a lot more, but we'll get to them another time.